Now, a proposed high-speed railway line which would link Birmingham and London has been given qualified support by a group of MPs. The Transport Select Committee says there is a good economic case for the line, High-Speed 2 as it's being called. It would allow trains to travel at up to 250 miles an hour. However, the committee decided there could also be a substantial negative impact on the countryside. Well, let's discuss all of this with Jerry Marshall. He speaks for AGAHST, which stands for Action Groups Against High Speed 2. It's a big umbrella group, I know. Hello to you. It represents 74 organisations in total. Actually, it's a very mixed picture from the Select Committee, really, isn't it? Although it does fundamentally say there would be huge economic benefits from this rail line.
It is a mixed picture, partly because I think the TSC are heavily split on it themselves, and there is a contrast between the headline, that there's a good case for HS2, and the detail of the report, which includes damning criticism that essentially tell the Department for Transport to go back to the drawing board. They've asked for a new business case, including a lower value for the time savings. That will destroy the business case, because time savings account for 40% of the benefits. Then they're also saying that the environmental costs need to be built in, and they've raised big questions about the claim that you can do 18 trains an hour. The French only manage 13 trains an hour, and there's a safety issue, there's a risk factor there. You could end up with basically a multiple train pile-up. And then finally they've said that the Department for Transport need to have a fresh look at the viable alternatives to HS2 because they haven't been looked at properly.
I mean, we could sit here for some time batting the pros and the cons, because I appreciate we are now in a position where both sides have lots of points, but some of them are, and you will know, we are talking about potentially creating a huge number of jobs with this rail line. And also the committee does make the point that the existing rail system is over capacity. We have to do something somewhere. Do you accept that?
No, that is absolutely wrong. The capacity on the West Coast Main Line can be trebled. Just by going from 5 standard class carriages to 9 standard class carriages doubles the number of standard class seats, which is where the capacity issue is. And by dealing with some of the bottlenecks, we can increase it further. And some of these things, like the route to Milton Keynes, needs to be dealt with now, within the next 5 years. Can't wait for HS2 to relieve capacity. So there isn't a capacity crunch. We have the time to wait and see what happens to rail demand, and to look at other technology to see how ultra-high-speed broadband will affect demand for travel, to see how maglev works in Japan when it's introduced there. That's a lot more efficient and much quieter. So, let's not buy a Betamax now at the point where technology is about to change radically.
So, in a sentence, do you feel today this is kicked into the long grass and therefore you're happy about that?
I think it's raised major questions, and I think Justine Greening has got a lot, the Secretary of State for Transport has a lot of work to do, homework to do, to produce all the information that they want, and I hope she will now come to the point of scrapping HS2.
Jerry Marshall, thanks very much indeed. And in fact, just as you say that, we see from our colleagues at Westminster that Justine Greening is going to meet MPs who are concerned about this plan. That meeting November the 21st.